Chapter 20. Blaine. "Oh, thank goodness, Blaine. Can you help me hang the tinsel?" Kenzi greeted him with a quick kiss on the cheek before grabbing his hand and pulling him across the gym floor. Sure." He tightened his hold on the package in his arms as he followed her. He supposed it would have to wait until he could steal her attention for a minute. She stopped at the far end of the wall where a chair, doubling as a ladder, sat. "Can you hand the tinsel up to me so I can hang it?" She had a tape dispenser on her wrist and was already pulling out a piece. Grabbing the tinsel from the floor, he handed it up to her. "Are you sure you don't want me to do that? I am a little taller." She smiled down at him. "No thanks. I've got it." She stretched up on her tiptoes and just managed to attach the tinsel to the wall before losing her footing and tumbling off the chair. Blaine dropped the package in his hands, thankful it wasn't breakable, and caught her just before she hit the floor. She splayed her hands across his chest as she tried to regain her footing. A soft pink blush of embarrassment covered her cheeks. "Okay, maybe I didn't have it, but at least I had you to catch me." His heartbeat increased in his chest as she gazed up at him adoringly. He had definitely fallen for this woman. He could feel it in every fiber of his body. "You'll always have me to catch you, Kenzi. I love you," he whispered before lowering his mouth to hers. He opened his eyes and blinked at her in surprise when he felt her fingers on his lips instead of her mouth. "You cannot just tell a girl you love her without giving her time to say it back," she said with a smile. Her hands moved up his chest and to the back of his neck. "I love you too, Blaine Hollis." He chuckled as he resumed his position and met her lips. Their bodies pressed closer together, and he marveled at how well she fit him. Not to interrupt, but the kids will be here soon?" Shelby's voice interrupted their intimate moment, and they jumped apart. Blaine ran a hand across his chin as he swallowed first his disappointment and then his chagrin. "Sorry, you're right. What else do you need help with, Kenzi?" She placed her hands on her hips as she turned and surveyed the room. "Actually, I think we're good." "Then can I steal you for a moment?" Blaine asked as he retrieved the package from the floor. He turned his attention to Shelby. "Is there enough time for that?" She didn't know what was in the package. He hadn't told anyone, but she nodded and smiled. "I think there's enough time for that." She flashed a wink at Kenzi before returning to the office. "What is this?" Kenzi asked when they were alone again. "An early Christmas present. I just got it this morning, and it couldn't wait for Christmas Day." He held the thin present out to her. She took it, her brow furrowing in curiosity. "It feels like a book," she said as her fingers explored the package, "but a very bendy one." Was she always this slow and meticulous with gifts? He had always been the type to rip it open in eagerness. "Just open it." She pulled back the paper and stared down at the magazine in confusion. "Novel home? I don't understand. I'm not looking for a new home, nor could I probably afford any in here." "Will you open it to page 7, please?" The excitement bubbling inside of him threatened to spill out and open the magazine for her. She flipped to the page, eyes widening as she realized what the pictures were. "Is this my cabin?" "Yes, and the story is about you and how you not only managed to bring it to life, but to convince me to keep it." Her eyes glistened as they met his. "You're going to keep it?" "I am. There are some bad memories there, but I had always hoped to make memories with my own family there one day, and the only way to do that is to keep it." "Blaine, I'm so glad. I think you would have regretted selling it." She looked as if she were going to say more, but the ringing of her phone interrupted her. "Hold on," she said, holding a finger up to Blaine. "This is Kenzi Lanham." He watched as she listened to the caller on the other end. She blinked as a look of shock covered her face. "Yes, I'm the designer who did Mr. Hollis's cabin." He bit back his smile as she paused to listen some more. "Of course, I would be delighted to take a look at your project. Tomorrow? Yes, I can meet you at 4. Thank you." She ended the call and stared up at him. I just got a potential job offer. His smile broke free as he squeezed her arm. I have a feeling you'll have many more in the future. I don't know what to say. Thank you. No, Kenzi, it's me who owes you thanks. You brought me back to life and helped me heal. I can never repay you for that. Kenzi. Kenzi smiled as she watched Blaine read to the kids. He appeared so relaxed and natural, it was hard to believe he had once been afraid to spend time alone with them. Though they hadn't discussed their future, she could imagine being married to him and watching him read like this to their own kids. How did you manage this? Kenzi turned to smile at the man and woman next to her. Life had been hard on them both, as evidenced by her graying hair and crow's feet, and his lack of hair and wrinkles. But her eyes were the same color as Blaine's, and his smile was just as bright. It wasn't all me. God had a big hand in helping him come around. Blaine finished his story and set the book down. He began making his way toward Kenzi, his eyes widening as he spied the woman next to her. Mom? Dad? Hi, Blaine. Lisa's voice had taken on a more reserved tone, and Kenzi saw her posture tense as she waited to see if Blaine would accept her or not. Joe, his father, stood still as well. He glanced at Kenzi as he pulled his mother in for a hug, before turning to his father and embracing him as well. She saw the silent question in his eyes and smiled. They could share the details later. For now, she was just glad to be sharing this scene with him. At the buzzing of her phone in her pocket, she excused herself. This is Kenzi Lanham, she said, when she was far enough out of earshot not to bother anyone with her conversation. Kenzi Lanham, this is Mayor Shelley. I have a beach house that I would love to update. I saw your work in Novel Homes today, and I'd like to schedule a meeting with you. Kenzi's knees nearly buckled beneath her. This was the second call she'd received from the spread in the magazine, and while these interest calls didn't guarantee she would land the job, it was certainly more than she'd had going for her a week ago. She couldn't believe Blaine had done this for her. He had made not only her Christmas wish, but all her dreams come true.